Hello YouTubers, and welcome to a Elko Speedway update video for the 2025 point standings, plus what's going to happen tomorrow, and some other exciting stuff, and then also some highlights from last week on the 7th, or not last week, but a few weeks ago on the 7th of June for the second race of the year. Again, opener was a blast, so that was a lot of fun for this one. It's June 7th. I wasn't there because I was fishing in Canada at the time, but I got some insight for that, and along with what we got going on here for the points. So starting out in 2025, Chris Cruiser Merrick, for that matter, point leader. And second is Grant Brown. Third, Chad Wallen. Fourth, Owen Giles. Top five for Billy Moan. Jeremy Wolf in sixth. Seventh is Steve Anderson Jr. Eighth is Dylan Sulner. Ninth is last year's champ Jake Ryan. Top 10 and 10th for Donnie the Rocket Reavers. And Joel Tyson in 19th. And 20 cars total so far are counted on the points grid. So last year there was roughly about 29 to 30 drivers. So 20 is usually the correct amount of stats, and then over time, then some other drivers and even some old past Elko drivers haven't been there for a while. They sometimes show up for a few one-offs, and then you start having Elko silly season, and you start doing stuff like that. And getting back to Chris Merritt Cruiser, if you've been hiding in your garage, or if not, then you know the dust up between the 3 of Chris Merritt Cruiser and the 10 of Dusty Man, what happened on June 7th. So Dusty Man was on the outside. This is on feature 1 in the late models. So the 10 of Dusty Man was on the outside. The 3 of Chris Merritt Cruiser was on the inside. I'm not sure what spot they were fighting for. I think it might have been first and second. But the 3 had the inside, the 10 on the outside. The 3 held its line coming off of turn 2, going down into turn 3 from the backstretch. So the 3 of Chris Merritt Cruiser went in there. The 10 went pretty good, except then all of a sudden the 10 just went straight and right into the turn 3 wall, scooting into the turn 4 corner and stopping. And so, I mean, that stuff happens. So I'm not sure at what point or whatever, but I think when the feature was done, or when the 10 went back to the garage area, Dusty got out of the 3 or out of the 10 car and went over to the 3 team and knocked down their toolbox and started punching the crap out of it. And I was pretty shocked to hear that, and I was like, whoa. And this is the first time. I mean, I've been at this track for 25 years, from 2000 to now, and I thought I've seen it all out there in my lifetime. I guess I haven't really heard and seen it all until this year. And we're talking the second race of the year, I might add, and it's kind of crazy that this went down because you don't normally hear about this right away. You think you hear about this the second to last race of the year before we go to the championship, and this is feature 1. I'm just like, really? And it's kind of interesting and bizarre to me, but it happened. And so Dusty knocked the toolbox the war carrier toolbox over, punched the crap out of it, and Elko hit him with a pretty good penalty. And also, too, my judgment on this is a bad boy award. I'll totally get a major bad boy award, I might add. And they didn't fine him, but they pulled him out of the track for a 3-race suspension, unless the 10 team pay for the toolbox for the 3, and I find that a fair payoff for that. That's just me, and from my perspective. So that is the dust up between the 10 and the 3 for late models. quite interesting. I'm not sure now what is going to be said for tomorrow. If the 10's going to be there or not. I know the 3, Chris Merck will be there. It'll be interesting to see what the toolbox looks like, if they got that fixed or what, but it's going to be interesting. So, unless a team, out of the gracious of their hearts, donated another one to them or something, but that'll be interesting to see and find out for sure. But definitely, I mean, it's controversy stuff. NASCAR talks about this all the time, and I thought, well, it's kind of like, it reminds me of 2011 between Joey Coulter, Kyle Busch, and Richard Childress with Hold My Watch and knocking out Kyle Busch with a good punch, and now look where Kyle Busch is at for a team. So, I mean, that stuff happens, but for it to be local, though, you guys do this out of your own pockets and your own wallets. So it's like you really can't be doing this because you guys are like Little League to the big leagues. I mean, ARCA is going to be there. They can afford to do stuff like this unless it's like super bad. But, I mean, you see this more common in the higher tier series than lower. And for it to be happening lower tier, there's just no, to me, there's just no call for that. You just deal with that situation and you just let it go, man. It's more worth it for that than doing the whole 180. So, and it reminds me of last year, like I talked about with Ryan Camish to the 99 of Tommy Peterson, with the 94 of Hunter Payne and the 50 Steve Anderson Jr. With that 4-car ordeal, there's just no need for hard racing. I mean, there's hard racing, but there's just no need to be taking out 2 cars at once that hard into the wall. And a lot of us were reminded of February 18th of 2001 for the accident. But to me, I just don't see the need for that because you tear up a lot. And these late models, already, you're talking $18,000 to $20,000 for one car. And for 20 of you guys to be out there at 2 different times throughout the night, and this series for the late models, this is the last feature for all that. After the late model feature ends, there's monster truck exhibition stuff going on. Then there's the 15-minute intermission break. Then, of course, when the second late model feature is done, that's it. Then everyone either congregates into the garage area or everybody just heads back into personal vehicles and takes off. So the late models, you guys end racing, and so you really just need to save your stuff for that second feature. And even in the first feature, you gotta maybe want to go hard just a little bit early, but don't wreck your tires too much. But you guys are the example for the other series as well. So I mean, if some of these drivers that are trying to want to move up, I just think it would be a lot beneficial to see the pros run professionally than craziness going on. That's just my personality. But the late models, I mean, that's the high tier series. Of course, Jason Sears, I can hear him in my background right now talking about the late models being the premier division, which it is, and I honor the premier division so much. That's what got me in it, coming back to Elko constantly. It's just been the late model class. I never got to go to a NASCAR event back in my younger days. It's for every premier division, I honor that, and but to see and hear craziness going on with it makes me sick. So I'm just not a fan of it, but hopefully they need I think there should be set some ground rules even more for stuff. I mean, and maybe harsher penalties for hard racing too at some point. So, but there's a fine line with that premier division. I've seen it throughout the years, but it's a really good one, especially too. I like paint schemes and number fonts, and that premier division fits the bill for me. Of course, you can hear about that in the other video with me and Jason Searcy on the podcast for my YouTube channel, and vice versa for his. And for his podcast, but it's just so good information. And so yeah, so there's that. Now on a lighter subject, ARCA 2025. Here's the entry list. This is kind of interesting. So there was a test today for one driver, and I'll talk about that a little bit. That was a lot of fun. That was from noon to 2 o'clock. Watched a fair amount of it. Only for one car. It was streamed on YouTube, and that was pretty cool. The driver that tested was at Hickory Speedway today, and I'm not sure because it was just televised by the crew member in the infield. So, but it was pretty cool, and looking forward to hearing, or potentially hearing and seeing about this car tomorrow. But here's the entry list. So, kicking off stuff. The entry list was kind of backwards. They had some of these guys that had lower numbers on the bottom, and I just thought, you know what, the PlayStation 2 for me, they actually had these guys higher, so I just went with that. So the guys are on the bottom, they're up top. Going numerical order, 03 is Alex Club kicking it off. 06 is Bryant Laster. So Bryant Laster in the 06 car. That is an Andy Hillenberg owned car. So Andy Hillenberg, he owns a couple of cars. I'm not quite exactly how many cars he owns for ARCA, but he builds a lot of them in-house. But Andy does own the 06. Now, I've seen this car be a Toyota. I see that it's a Ford. My buddy showed me the car on his phone because he knows Bryant really well. He's going to be there tomorrow. And he showed me the photo, and it was a Toyota Camry. And when I saw the entry list today, it said Ford. So the 06 car is either going to be a Ford or Toyota. I know that because Chad Bryant Racing, that the team that I raced for and got the gear from, with the 21 was my personal iRacing car, then the 22 and the 77. And but the 22 and the 77, they were Ford and Chevrolet for ARCA. It was kind of weird to see, but the Chevrolets were from the Richard Childress stable. And so it's interesting to see, though, for a Ford to a Toyota with an ARCA team, but I'm interested to see just what happens with there. But I put an asterisk there for that. Now we go single-digit numbers. The first one is the 3 of Will Mullins, the 5 of Michael Clayton, the 6 of LeVar Scott, the 7 of Cadence Davenport. That's a pretty cool one, Cadence Davenport. 9 of Matt Kemp, 10 of Tony Mullins, or Tony. This is, I think, Mullins. I'm just going to go with that. I can't really pronounce the last name too good, but Tony's in the 10 car. The 11 of Bryce Hergerberg. So the 11 of Bryce Hergerberg is there. That's a mouthful. The 12 of Trevor Ward, and the 18 of Max Reeves. And this is actually, I think, the first time that Max Reeves has driven the 18 this year, and he hasn't been Elko. Of course, we all know William Swallish. He ran Talladega this year. I'm shocked he actually did not make the Elko date, because he did a banger job last year, and Sam, my buddy, recorded that finish with the 3 wide and did a really good job. I knew Michael Maples, the driver I was spotting for last year on the headset. He was further back, and I told Sam, I said, listen, I'll be on the radio with the 99, I'll be calling the 99, you just keep recording. So I'm going to talk to a team tomorrow, and I'm going to get to that here in a little bit. And so so whatever car that I'm with tomorrow, because I'm certainly going to try to find one and get one, I'm going to have him call that now in 15 laps, whether it be a caution or not, depending how I feel about the car that I'm with. I'll either have him stick to the camera recording that car, or I'm going to call the car and he'll record the front of the field, because that's where all the action is going to be in 15 laps. Especially getting down to the single digits when it starts ticking off by 10, 9, 8, and so on. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. but it's going to be interesting. And so Max Reeves, and this is the first time he's ever been to Elko, so that's pretty good. The 20 of Lawless Allen, Talladega winner. That's a pretty good one. The 25 car for Venturini Racing. This is huge. This is a big one. I've seen this guy now throughout the whole ranks, starting with the Legends a few years back. Then he got himself a late model. Then late model a little bit, ran the ASA Midwest Tour stuff, looking pretty good. And his dad, former ASA Racing Series, ASA Midwest Tour, local driver with Winston Remax, Dodge Weekly, Whelen Automotive, and then the ASA ARCA Midwest Tour division, and ran a lot of that. And didn't really run local. Ran locally a little bit in 2017. Dabbled with it a little bit and dabbled with it a lot. But this guy's been around forever and won a fair amount of races, especially won a good handful of Thunderstruck 93 events. Won some track championships as well, and just been a great guy of Dan Fredrickson. The 25 ARCA car is being driven by Ty Fredrickson tomorrow as a rookie. That is huge. So Ty, congratulations on making that rookie debut tomorrow, and nice job, buddy. I give that family a lot of credit. Dan was really cool and good to me last year at Thunderstruck, and I appreciate the content from everybody that I got for that race last year. I mean, that was superb, especially the interviews with Jim Trado and Jason Searcy. Both of those were really good, and so I was really happy about that. So that's pretty sweet. Now, on to car 28. This is the second back half here. So the 28 car of Brandon Butterbean Queen, Daytona winner. And I have some record account of this 28 ARCA car going back to 2023 at Iowa Speedway with that wonderful weekend for ARCA with Luke Finhouse scoring it over William Sawalish, and that was a great one. And that was Luke's first ever ARCA win, and I got to be in victory lane with the car rolling in there like Dale Earnhardt in the 1980 Daytona 500. That gave me the vibe, and even Davey Ellison in 92 at Daytona 500, it gave me the same vibe for that Chevy SS. I did a really great job camera work in that, got the Calypso victory lane hat, and just all around really good input for that. Luke did a good job, and now if the 28 can back it up, that would be a big win for the 28, because this is the first time the 28's ever been to Elko. And so with the first with the 28 at Iowa to the first of the 28 at Elko, that would be cool if the 28 can lock it up, because I have seen past Daytona ARCA winners win Elko, and this would be the fourth one for me with Brandon Butterbean Queen. And in fact, Brandon Queen, I remember him driving for Junior Motorsports and the late model division a few years back in the 8 car. So that's kind of cool. Now he's in the 28, and when Dale Jr. left DEI to go to Hendrick, Jr. tried to request and get the car 28 because of the Gray Ghost Kill Yarborough car paint scheme. Junior did do that paint scheme on the 88 car, I think 2013, I believe it was, with Nationwide on it. That one looked pretty good, I'd have to say, but Junior was really kind of bumming because the reason I couldn't get 28 because I was selling Texaco, and Kanan went to Travis Quapple with that car in 08. So, but that's where Yates was like, you know what, we don't have anything going on happening with the 88, we'll just give you that and double it. And And it worked out because Ralph Earnhardt also ran 88 back in the day too, not just the 8. So it's still honoring the Earnhardt legacy with that, plus doubling the 8, why not? So, but Junior was trying to shoot for 28, but for Brandon Butter being Queen to drive 28, it's almost like, you know what, that's kind of like a glorified Dale Jr. car in a way. So, and I'm looking forward to hanging out with it tomorrow as well, so that's pretty sweet. The 381 of Quinn Davis, 48 of Brad Smith, 55 of Isabella Robusto, the 67 car, Michael Maples Motorsports, the Chevy SS. This car is owned by Michael Maples, the driver. That is TBA. That is a silly season car right now and an up in an air ride. Not sure if it's going to be there or not. Flip of the coin, 50-50. 70 of Taylor Ramier. This is, I think, the same 70 that won Berlin last weekend, and that was pretty good. So, but the 70 has a different driver in it. 85 of Becca Monopoly. The 86 of Brian Clubb. And back to the first car right off at the 03 Alex Clubb, we got Clubb Brothers. So that's pretty cool. 86 on the 03 is pretty cool there. The 97 of Jason Kitzmiller, that's pretty cool there. The 98 of Dale Scherer, the 99 of Michael Maples. And the last entry, this was the car I was talking about that was at the test today. It was late entry, had it in the back. But it's an I'll have a photo up here so you guys can see this car. It's a Generation 4 car from 2011. I did some insight on this thing. It has, if you look real close on the hood, and you can't see the back, but the hood has a Dodge logo on it. The back is a Dodge Charger bumper cover. The front nose is in a Chevy Impala SS, or is an Impala SS, I should say. It's a Generation 4 car. This would probably wind up being a start and park, or try and maybe run majority of this race. And I have seen a glorified few. There was a few years back, there was a Generation 4 car that went to Elko. It was the number 1 car, and I think it only ran 10 laps and they pulled it off. But ARCA is kind of like Cup 10 years ago in 2015, where we have 43 cars, but I think like 3 to 5 of them after 25 laps pull off and they get paid about $15,000 or $1,500, I should say. Now it's $15,000. So yeah, so they get paid the start and park amount, and then they just either hang at the track or they just pack up and leave. So, but this is Mike Chaya in the 90 car. His last name is pronounced CZAJA. So Mike Chaya, which is really interesting pronunciation of the word. But he right now is TBA with an asterisk by the number 90. Not sure this. I looked at the about this team. I was watching YouTube. They said that they're testing the car at Hickory today to maybe try to get ARCA to get that car for ARCA's approvement to go to Elko for tomorrow. So I'm not sure if they got approved by ARCA or not. But it'd be interesting to see. Now, here's what the car count would look like if everything goes up to date. If everything is snuff and everybody's accounted for, we have 25 cars. This is right now TBA because I'm not sure about the 67. I'm not sure about Mike Chaya in the 90. So right now, but if everything gets approved, we're at 25. If the 90 car doesn't show up and the 67 does, then we got 24 cars. And push comes to shove, if both 67 and the 90 do not show up at all, we have a stacked field of 23. Now, Elko, I'm cool to seeing 23 ARCA cars. The problem with that though is that some of these cars that they already have, those are already going to be starting park. I can tell you right now that I think the ones that have a good shot of doing this is the 03 and the 06. I've seen the 06 do this a lot, and same with the 03. And I saw this at Iowa Speedway with the 31 car. Quinn Davis is driving it. I'm not sure, because also too, if you're not up to speed with the ARCA speed, with the of the correct speed that you should be posted at, if you're not posted by the ARCA speed time, like NASCAR, Cup, Truck, and Xfinity have it, where if you're not posting a good speed, they're gonna black flag you and pull you out. So if you can maintain ARCA speed rights and the speed rates that they have, then you can of course stay out. But there's 3 there, so 23, 22, 20. I see about potentially 20 cars still being in this event, and then of course I think like you take maybe 15 and then like have the top 14 be on the lead lap, or depending who's the more dominant pack of these ARCA cars, you probably then maybe see the top 5 be on the lead lap and everybody else 1 to more laps down. Unfortunately it works out like that, but I would really love to see, this is just my personal reference on this, 33 ARCA cars, nobody gets pulled out unless you have a severe problem with an engine blowout, a tire blowout, or you get spun out, you can't start the car, or you're in a wreck. But run all 33 and be consistent with it. I'd like to see every ARCA race have at least 30 to 33 entries in it to be more consistent than one track having 34, one track having 26, one track having about 28, and one track having about 25, 24, and one track having 23, and one track having 29. So it's like there's so much inconsistencies with ARCA. It's like just pick a pack that you think should be full size and run it. Because I like this. I'm a guy that I like consistency, and I'm a consistency kind of a guy. I would like to see that going on instead of this inconsistency stuff that we got going on here. But that's just me. But so yep. But it'll be interesting to see how that all works out. But I'm gonna bring this with me and use that, and I'll show you the list right here because I did a good job on this. Took me about 20 minutes to make this out, and I did a good job. So I'm looking forward to that. Now, we talk stats here. This is strictly about the 28 card. And speaking of which, former stuff that I got going on, I got some postcards here that mean the world to me for everything from a YouTube channel. Of course, the first big one was Haley Deegan. Her and mine interview is really big. In fact, this interview happened before her YouTube channel was made. So I like to say that maybe I contributed part of her with making a YouTube channel for her, but I don't know if that's correct or not. But if that's one of the reasons why that it came to be, I'll take that. But that's pretty cool. So that was a big one. The next one, this was like me being in Daytona 500 Victory Lane. Me with Luke Fenhouse for that night in Iowa. Hell of a nice guy, great dude. If you ever get the chance to meet Luke Fenhouse, I seriously do not want you to pass up the opportunity, because this is really cool. Yes, he is from Wisconsin. Yes, he may be a Packer fan. And yeah, you Ford fans out there may not like the Chevy bow tie itself, but I tell you what, you take all that bad stuff aside and you look at this dude as a whole, heck of a great dude and one heck of a wheelman at Iowa. And I did a great job with getting all the content I needed and then some extra stuff, and that was huge for me. And that was one night I'll never forget in Iowa, and that happened a year before my NASCAR credentials kicked in for the Cup and Xfinity and ARCA stuff for my YouTube channel for that. So I pretty much own Iowa as a playground like I do Elko. It's glorious. So yeah, I'm really happy about that. Then last year, my boy and the guy that I was spotting for last year, Michael Maples. Heck of a cool dude, and I definitely liked him being there, especially with the 99, because I'm a big Dick Trickle fan, and it reminded me when Dick drove the Monte Carlo in 2003 for his last ASA racing event. So to see the 99 car back, I talked to Michael and we worked out that deal last year. He did pretty good, but I'm looking forward to getting with the team, and so that was cool. So that is the highlight there with Luke Fenhaus in 2023. I have a photo of so I got the photo of Luke's car at Iowa there, which is pretty cool. And then also too with Butterbean McQueen running pretty good, and so far this year he's, of course, the current point leader, which I really like. Luke Fenhaus, on the other hand, never won an ARCA championship, but for Butterbean, Brandon McQueen leading right now, like Lightning McQueen a little bit, like I'm getting Cars vibes from this. For this year, he's been very consistent, and the thing about Berlin is that this happened before. With William Swalish, he won Berlin before, I'm trying to think, normally the guy that usually wins or finishes second goes on to win Elko. That happened last year with Jesse Love and William Swalish, and I believe Jesse wound up winning Berlin, and he backed up winning with Elko when William Swalish, it was William Swalish won Elko last year. Jesse Love finished, I think, it was Jesse Love last year, yeah. So that was pretty good with, it was the year before, that we're talking 2023. Yeah, not last year. Yeah, in 2023. I still keep thinking sometimes it's 2024. 2023, Berlin was won by William Swalish, close for Jesse Love, and then Jesse Love wound up winning, it was Jesse Love winning Berlin and wound up winning at Elko. Last year, it was William Swalish winning at Berlin and winning at Elko. So normally the dude that wins Berlin normally goes on to win Elko. This time it was the 70 car, but finishing fourth was Brandon Queen in the 2018. He finished fourth last week at Berlin. So he's still leading the points. So if he doesn't win but finishes fourth, though, that is consistent with Berlin, because Berlin is maybe a smidge bigger or a smidge smaller, but roughly they're close to the same size as Berlin is to Elko, and Elko is to Berlin in Michigan and Minnesota. They are very similar. The only track that's not similar to any of them is Flat Rock Speedway, and that thing looks like a track that should have a big old lawsuit on it, because it's like a perfectly circle. And ARCA owns the track, and I'm just looking at Flat Rock like, good lord. So that's kind of spooky, but it's going to be good for sure, and but especially the love of the 28. That's going to be awesome to root for that. So that's pretty much all I got right there. But I'm going to talk to an ARCA team tomorrow. And of course, I already have the driver in mind that I got my ARCA pick for who I think is going to win. I'm not going to share any of that stuff until I'm at the track, and I'm going to do the grid walk, and then I'll have Sam ask me the question, who do you think is going to win? Because I got it right last year. If you didn't see the video that we did last year for the grid walk, and then my pre-race prediction, I nailed it with William Swalish. And I thought Nick Sanchez, who wound up winning the championship last year, he got second, at Elko. He was consistent though by that much, but the 15 had a good run and spinning out on the last lap, and Sam did a great job recording that finish. I talked to him tonight. He was really over the moon, and I said that video alone from last year, that has a lot of views on it. So you guys done a great job, and thank you again for the subscriptions. I saw the number of 380. I'm so honored to see that because I know I'm getting close to 400. That puts me halfway to 800. That's pretty cool. And I've been at it since 2017 in the fall for this channel. And I'm glad I've got to get some really good content for you guys out. It's been some really good situations that I put myself in, and it's pretty sweet. Everyone has been graciously held me out with open arms, and these Elko drivers love me to death, man. These guys, everybody just does a great job with this channel of mine and my passion. Thanks to my grandfather for 25 years of Elko for myself, and it's cool that my 25th anniversary falls on the Elko's 60th anniversary of an existence for his birthday this year. So that is consistent, and like I said, I like consistency a lot. I'm a big stat guy, and I got this down pretty good. So I'm just like Steve Burns, John Roberts, Larry McReynolds, Mike Joy, Darrell Waltrip, Wally Dallenbach, Benny Parsons, Bill Weber, so good old BP, Benny Parsons. Yeah, and tomorrow at 67 years of age is happy birthday to Phil Parsons. That's pretty cool. So it's Phil's birthday tomorrow of June 21st, somewhere I think in the I can't think of the year he was born, but I know it was June 21st. So, but that's pretty cool. So, but that's pretty awesome for Phil, and definitely wish BP was around these days because Benny was a really cool dude. And if anybody doesn't know what happened to Bill Weber, I looked him up a few years back. He's an illusionist in Las Vegas, which is kind of funny. You go from having a NASCAR career to being an illusionist. It's like, I don't know how that works, but it's like, geez, I guess whatever. Floats your aircraft carrier or battleship, I guess. That's pretty good, though. But thank you guys so much for the content, and I'm looking forward to ARCA. Now, tomorrow, I was thinking about this today because, I mean, I like the late model class a lot at Elko, but with ARCA and 250 laps, there's only so much battery on my phone. Because, I'm using my phone for these videos. I don't have a major camcorder. I'm doing this. I'm like a late model driver. I'm doing this by budget and stuff like that for my phone. So I don't have a big expensive camera, which I don't want to, and I don't want to carry around a big monkey thing and start hurt my wrist because I push carts at Cub for a living. So I want to try to have less strain on my wrists as possible. So I think, given the fact that I'm using my phone and there's 250 laps on the line tomorrow at stake for ARCA, I think I'm just gonna bite the bullet and just record just the ARCA series because I wanna do that. I'll still talk about the late model stuff. You guys unfortunately won't see this, but I just want to keep it just for ARCA. It'd be interesting to get some feedback for that, but other than that though, I just want to do ARCA. And just hopefully everyone can respect that for me, because I'm doing this with my phone. I'm going to have my battery pack on my phone before I use it because I want to get as much charging on there as possible. I have a Duracell battery pack that I have a portable charger for that I plug into my phone if I really need to, and I'm going to have that with me so by the time the ARCA starts, I have 100% battery life when I pull it off the charger battery pack for it. So got that off of eBay a few years ago, and it's been a big help to me. And I just got back from the Collier County Fairgrounds today watching Days of Thunder in the grandstands, which is pretty sweet. So I get me in the vibe mode, and I got a headset, two-way scanner, frequency, a new one. I had to roughly make the one that I used last year with. That got me by pretty good, but I got myself a whole brand new setup, and I'm left-handed dominant, so I have it on the left side. So that's pretty sweet, and it's pretty awesome. I just checked the frequency scanner that I have for it. I put an ARCA logo on the front. I made it a sticker, but I printed off of a 4x4 at Walgreens, and I just put double-sized sticky tape and super glue on the back of it, and I made a photo into a sticker. I do that a lot for customization. So, and I'm going to have that with me. You'll of course see me. I'll have Sam record me using that thing and typing in the number 28 for it, and or what? Hopefully the 28. That's the team I'm going to shoot for to be with is Brandon Queen. Knowing that I couldn't do this with Luke Finhouse, but I got to be with this car in Victory Lane, so it'd be kind of cool to do it with the 28, and then hopefully, if it works out, that car can win. So that'd be pretty big. So, but we'll just see what tomorrow brings. I'm gonna leave this Waconie at 12 in the afternoon and spend the whole day at Elko, and then come back, and then I'll hopefully hopefully I can have my buddy Sam join me on for it. If not, I'm still gonna talk about the Elko stats with late model and ARCA and some of the highlights and my point of view of how I thought the event went. So it'll be good. See you guys in the next. See you guys before that video, but see you guys at Elko though tomorrow. And for this, and I'm gonna sign postcards here. I got 3 fans will get 2 sets. I'm gonna autograph the 21 5x7, and then I got this one that will not have my autograph on it because I don't have a whole lot of room. I wasn't able to do 8x10s, but this is my legit iRacing car that I used, and I was using this one for a while, but I thought since I'm with Chad Bryant Racing with the 22 N77 and the hat plus the shirt, I thought, you know what, I don't want to just do this car because even though it is on me and Sam's credentials for tomorrow as it is always with the 21, and of course the back, and of course the back being right here. I really dig the shine of this, but with my 21 being on the front and the team cars that I'm with, it's kind of like doing DEI. It's like, you know what, if you have Dale Jr.'s Budweiser car, you got to get Steve Park and Michael Waltrip. So it's the same vibe. So one fan, I'll keep it behind an autograph. I'll keep them organized. So I'll autograph the first one and give it, and then they'll realize, oh sweet, I got 2. So yeah, so three fans will get it. So I did 6 photos of each. So 3 of one set, 3 of another. So, but that's a 2-in-1. So that's pretty good. And for next year, if I can able to afford 8x10s, I'll make the same number of each set, and then autograph the 21 and keep the other one right behind it, and just give it to the fans so they have 2. And they both have my YouTube channel on it. So the more that my channel is on it, the better views and the subscriptions, and the more that this channel is talked about. And I appreciate that a lot. So, and of course the attire, I just shook this out. There was a good fair amount of dust in this thing because I only wore this thing. I didn't wear this at Iowa last year because I had the Wizco stuff on. But this was worn at Elko last year, and I shook a lot of dust off it over just today because of the long off season. And then these are the tickets, but you can actually get a discount on the Garage Pass. So when I get the Garage Pass and I get the discount, there was the ticket counter ladies. They'll just take this and rip it, because then I get the wristband for the garage. Plus the cool ARCA credentials thanks to Chad Bryant Racing. So yeah, that boy. And for iRacing to be backwards compatible on a flash drive back in 2013 and 2009, and before they came out with their simulators and all the expensive stuff, you were able to, if you could figure it out, you could make it backwards compatible and download the software on a flash drive and play it like a computer game. That's how I got to do that. And then get credentials and get Bass Pro to get a sponsorship, and then being friends with Mike Kangas and Gene Coleman, getting that credential there, and then it's everything, just being in this wonderful situation. It's like what Richard Shorter said for his Hall of Fame speech, only in America.